Do you seek glory? Because soon Ragnarok will rain down upon us, and do you have the bravery to face death? Ha ha. Hello and welcome to the Bottled Imp, exploring the realms of fantasy. My name is Ken Boyter and today we are looking at Blood Rage, designed by Eric M. Lang and published by CoolMiniOrNot. We are going to be delving into the realm of Vikings and seeing, well, we'll probably be visiting Valhalla as well, won't we? Well, let's just find out if you, or indeed I, have the bloodlust in order to survive the Blood Rage. Blood Rage, just what exactly is in the box? In fact, it's a big box. It's very deep, it's very big. So you do get loads of components, which is a good thing. So I'm going to be very, very brief, speak quickly as if I can actually go through it all. Anyway, let's crack on. So what you get is you get this big board, lovely board. You also get one age track, which is this sheet here. You also get a Valhalla sheet, which is this one here. You also get 102 cards, which are split into 3 decks. And you get Ragnarok tokens, which are these big things here that have each name of a region, of a province on. You also get a first player token, which is this horn, and you get tokens for your clans. You also get there are 4 clans, so it's 2 to 4 player. So each player has a clan sheet, plus they also get a clan leader, these miniatures. Now they do come unpainted, as you can see. Normally I would paint them, but I just haven't had time. Plus, you get a ship of your clan, and you also get your warriors. Now, these warriors, they give you 4 of 2 different types. So you will get actually 8 warriors each. Plus, there are some monsters. Oh yes, creatures. Now, there are some that are kind of more human-like, but they will do your bidding for you. Plus, you get big monsters like this, and honestly, I've seen some that are painted and they look fantastic. Plus, you also get pillage tokens, which are these ones here. You get a selection of those, and you do get your clan marker as well, which will be keeping track of your points. So, what's the object of the game? Well, the theming is that Ragnarok, which is the end of the world, is going to come very, very soon. And being Vikings, you want to still pillage and basically claim glory. And you get glory in various different ways, one of which is by dying at Ragnarok. So that's the object of the game, is to get glory points or victory points. And you get those in-game, plus you'll also be getting them scoring at the end of the game as well. So I'm just going to quickly explain how you set the game up. So you've got the board, and there, as I say, there's the glory point track that runs around the outside. You will put each of your clan tokens on here at the 0. Plus you will then have the pillage tokens, and you will take them all to begin with, and you will shuffle them up, and you will randomly put them on each of the provinces. Now the board is split into 9 provinces, and there are 3 regions, and they are denoted by the different colours. So that one's yellow, that one's yellow, that one's yellow. That makes up a region. You've got 3 blue ones, and you've got these that are kind of grey or transparent. And so there are 3 regions. Plus you then, with the special pillage token, you will then place that one in the middle, because this one is the Tree of Life. Now I can't pronounce that. It's Yggdrasil, I think that's how you pronounce it. Who knows? Well, Vikings know. So you place one there, and that is a special one. Now, also on the board, there are sea areas or fjord areas, and those are the areas where your ships will come into play. Plus, in the provinces, there are villages, and these are denoted by the round circles and like little village symbols on them. And these are where your warriors will come into play. And there are X amount in each of the provinces. So that's the setup of the board. apart from, at the beginning, you need to take the Ragnarok tokens and you shuffle those, and then you will flip one over at random and see where it is. Now this happens to be in this region, and that one is destroyed. Now you would do that depending on how many players there are. As I say, it's a 2 to 4 player, so I think if it's 4 players, there's only one area that's destroyed to begin with, and that means nobody can go into that area for the rest of the game. Then what you do is you take the rest of these and you randomly, again, you shuffle them, and then you randomly place one on each of the ages, and you will then know which area of the board is going to be destroyed during the game. And there is a clever little token called the Doom token that will remind players of where is going to be destroyed next. So for example, this one is however you pronounce that area, and you will then place the Doom token there because that reminds players, because if you die at the end of Ragnarok, you will be gaining some glory points. Then what you do is you take the cards and you will separate those into the 1, 2 and 3 ages. You will shuffle those and you will deal out 8 cards to each player. 8 of these. Then what you do is you will then start to draft. So what you will do is you will select one, you will read them, and again obviously this can take a little bit of time, and certainly when you first play it they suggest that you don't necessarily do the drafting phase, that you actually just play with what you're dealt. In that case it would be 6 cards. Oh no, I think you get a choice actually of then discarding 2 cards. But anyway, with the drafting you will then select one, and when you first play it you don't really have an idea of what these special abilities are, and then you'll keep it face down and you'll pass your cards to the next player, and that will then, you'll be getting the next set of cards, and again you'll be selecting another one, and you'll be doing that until you have 6 cards in your hand and you have 2 left. Those everybody puts face down, they're out of the game, and again that means that you can't guess really what's in play and what isn't in play in people's hands. Now the other thing is obviously you will then get all of your figures, and you are provided with these bases. You get little ones, and you also get the big ones as well, and these will actually snap onto your figures, because then it can denote which figures are whose. And then what happens is, so say for example you can draft in monsters, how cool is that, and they will do your bidding, and then what you'll do is you simply snap the base onto those monsters, and then you know at a glance who controls which monsters. So the other thing you need to do is set up your clan sheet, and what you do is you take your 4 tokens, and all the clan sheets are exactly the same, apart from they are just named differently and they have different looking warriors and leaders, but the actual stats are the same. So everybody starts with the same stats. Obviously the difference being is that each of you will have different cards with different special abilities and different upgrades. So what you do is you will each take your tokens and you'll place them on the lowest scores of each track, apart from the rage, which always starts on 6, and obviously those tracks will be going up, they might be going down as well, certainly the rage will be as you spend points. And then once you've done that, you are good to go. What you do then is there are 3 ages, or 3 rounds, which then comprise of 6 phases. And the first phase, which we've already done, which is God's Gift, that's the drafting. Then what you do is you have a token which then denotes which phase you are in. So the action phase is first. And what you simply do is you have as a player, now the first player is the one that has the horn, and you get the horn because, oh, that sounds quite rude, doesn't it? If you are born furthest north, you are the first player, or I guess you could roll a dice. So the first player will decide what actions they do. Now some will cost you rage, some won't. So if you have a card that has, for example, 2 here, that will cost you 2 rage points. So you will simply play the card and then move your token down by the equivalent amount. And some actions won't cost you rage, but in that case you still have to have rage in order to do a non-costing rage action. Sounds more complicated than it is. So say for example I wanted to do a non-costing action that doesn't cost me any rage, I have to make sure I still have at least one rage to do it. So I kind of would do all those actions before I start spending too much rage. Sometimes though it's an advantage to be placing figures out and using rage. So you will simply decide what you want to do, and there are various actions that you can do. There is invade, which means you will be placing one of your warriors or even your leader onto the board, and obviously you can place your ship as well, and doing one of those is an action. And then once you've done that, it will cost you some rage, and you will then move on to the next player. The other thing you can do is you can march, and again you'll be marching into various zones. Now with the Tree of Life, that means that there are no villages in there, so you can't actually invade into there. You have to move in from an adjacent space. So that's marching. That will cost you rage as well. Plus you can upgrade. Now upgrading is when you use these these cards, and what you'll do is you will simply take an upgrade card, and this one happens to be a ship upgrade, and you will pay the rage cost, and then you will simply place that on the correct upgrade area. So you've got the ship upgrade, you've got your leader upgrade, you've got the warrior upgrade, and also you've got your monsters, because some of them, as I say, you'll be able to draft monsters. Now if you're playing a 3-player game, there are certain cards here that will have 3+ on them or 4+. If that's the case, then you need to remove certain cards depending on the amount of players. You need to do that before you start the game. Then what you do is there are some other things you can quest. Now questing doesn't cost you anything, so if you have a quest card, which is one of these, you will simply say, right, I'm questing, and you'll place it down on your clan sheet, and then it moves on to someone else's go. And you can pillage. Obviously Vikings love to pillage. Basically what that means is you will be, say you're in an area and you can pillage with one warrior or as many warriors as you can, and you will just simply declare, I am pillaging. And what that means is that is a call to arms for other players, because they might decide to try and stop you from pillaging, and they will simply move into that area if there's enough spaces left. So for example, if I had all of that, then nobody else would be able to actually move into that space. If there is one or more spaces, then they can move in and they can challenge you. And what you do is you will then fight, and there are certain cards that you will fight with. I won't go into too much detail about this, but it is pretty simple. And you will basically be playing cards. You'll be counting up the amount of strength that your warriors and ships and your monsters give you, and then adding to it with cards. And you can do back and forth type things with some cancel out. There are special abilities on these cards. If you're successful in pillaging, then you simply flip over the tile and you will find out, oh no, actually I think these are all flipped up to begin with. Yeah, I think they are, because then you know what you want to go and actually improve. Now these are all upgrades. And what you do is you will then flip them over and you'll find out which upgrade you're getting, or if they are meant to be face up, you will already know. And simply you will then go, yes, brilliant. You will actually move up whichever token you actually want on your track, because then you've got more of that, and that means obviously you can upgrade quicker and you can get better equipment and do better things with your upgrades. Then what you do is these ones will remain for the rest of the game, because obviously you then start to strategize, because if you know that that area particularly gives you horn upgrades and you want to carry on doing that, then you can do that. And the further up the track, the more you can get into the zone of extra glory points at the end of the game. So those are the actions that you do. What happens is, if everybody runs out of rage, then that is the end of the action phase, or if everything has been pillaged, all the provinces have been pillaged, then that is the end of the action phase. Then what you do is you simply move the token to the discard down to one card. So if you've still got a few cards left, you can keep one, but you must discard the rest. They're out the game for the rest of the game. And then you will then move on to the questing. So if you did play any questing cards, this is what you need to do. You flip them over. Hopefully you've completed them. If you have, for example, this one is you have to have the most strength, i.e. warriors adding up totally, in one of these provinces, then you will gain that many glory points. So in this case, this one is to do with if you've got one in one of these 3 regions, the most strength. Then, once everybody's accounted for their quest and moved their victory points, then what you do is you will then have Ragnarok. So it comes around, and then, as we all know, because of the Doom token, and we can read that there, what that means is you can then place that onto that region, and that now is out of the game. So, like the first one, nobody can move in there. Then what we do is you will then move the Doom token to the next area. So in that case, it is here. So again, players will know exactly which one is going to be destroyed next. Then what you do is you will then release any warrior that went to Valhalla, because unfortunately, if you lose battles, then some of your monsters and warriors will be at Valhalla. Now, certain special abilities will mean that you get points, glory points, if you're in Valhalla at the end of an age. And if there is, then you simply mark those on the track. So everybody gets their warriors and monsters back, and then you move on to the next phase, and you'll be doing the drafting, etc., etc. And you do that for a 3rd time, and when that is done, then that's the end of the game. So then what you do is you will then obviously add up all your points and find out who's won. So what do I think of the game? I think it's fantastic. It's so ingenious. It's very simple to play. It seems like there's a lot going on because there's a lot of components. There's a lot of kind of, set up to begin with. No, it doesn't take too long, but it's kind of, you have to get your head around it. But once you do, the gameplay flows really, really well. I love the fact that there's some actions cost you points and some don't, and you have to still have rage in order to play the non-costing actions. But that means you then get into that debate of, well, should I want to kind of do those first, but then maybe you need to spend rage in order to, protect an area or to get more warriors onto the board. So there's that dilemma. Then you've got the dilemma of the drafting, which, if you play the game more than once, and obviously you start to learn which cards work best for you and your strategy. And so it's like, oh, there's a dilemma, what should I keep? More importantly, I kind of think, well, I don't want them to have that card, so you might think of that along those lines of strategy. And I love the fact that you can upgrade your pretty much everything on your clan sheet. You've got the ship upgrades, you've got the leader upgrades, and you've got your warrior upgrades, and obviously drafting monsters is amazing. I mean, these miniatures are just something else. They are absolutely superb, really exquisite, and I'm looking forward to painting these. The artwork is beautiful, all the components, the quality is absolutely stunning. I really, really adore this game. And it's especially when you get into the battles, there can be that toing and throwing, like, well, actually I'm going to do this and I'm going to add this and I'm going to cancel what you just did. There's a bit of interaction there as well. And I love the fact that you're not actually fighting per se in terms of you haven't really got any enemies, but somebody might just say, do you know what, this time I'm going to stop you pillaging. I wasn't bothered last time, but this time I am. So there's all of that going on. I absolutely adore it. It's a very simple game to, once you master it, once you get it into your head, it then flows really beautiful, and there doesn't seem to be much downtime when it's not your go, because everybody just does an action. You do one action and then it moves on. And so literally by the time you've just worked out what action you're going to be doing next, depending obviously what other people are doing, it's back to your go again. So it doesn't have much downtime whatsoever because you're still strategizing on what you're actually going to do next. Absolutely love it. I would totally recommend this, and I'm certainly going to be keeping this one. This one definitely gets played a lot. That's Blood Rage. Ragnarok is upon us. Blood Rage. I can't recommend this enough. It's fantastic. Everything about it is nigh on perfect. So thank you, Mr. Lang, for designing this game, and CoolMiniOrNot publishing this game. Hours and hours of fun. Love it. Thank you so much for watching. We do have other fantasy board game reviews and book reviews and film reviews on our channel. Check us out. We also have a Facebook page where you can interact with us. We put little extras up there, like little photos and little comments, little other things. So interact with us there. Like and share everything we do. Please spread the word of the Bottled Imp. Remember, keep it unreal, folks.